We've been hanging out in the Superstition Mountains in the Valley of the Sun, finding some touristy but fun things to do. We finally found a place to get the Colorado Road off our rig. Man, it needed it. Now we're on our way to Tucson. We're continuing our series of traveling Arizona. Our base camp is a little piece of BLM land practically in the city of Tucson, and would be very convenient for visiting what we planned here. We think it's pretty unique to find dispersed camping so close to a city. We picked our little corner and set up camp. I'll show you more later and tell you if we'd recommend staying here. We plan to embrace all things desert on this adventure. The Arizona-Sonoran Desert Museum is an excellent place to start. The #1 attraction in Tucson and considered one of the top 10 museums in the country, this 98-acre facility has it all. Since the Sonoran Desert covers such a wide area and wraps around the Gulf of California, the museum has a wide variety of displays. Much of the museum is outside, so if you're coming during the heat of summer, you should do some planning.
Our animals we get from rehab centers, they can't be released back into the wild for whatever reason, and so we get them and they are ambassadors for their kind. So they have these, and these are considered modified leaves, so just as you might look for shade.
The desert views are stunning. If you have enough energy to walk beyond the pathways between each exhibit, there are 2 miles of trails that take you through 21 acres of desert. The museum has a replica of a limestone cave and a great collection of minerals considered to be one of the best regional collections in the world. The museum claims to have 242 animal species. We walked through a variety of desert habitats. With 56,000 individual plant species, it makes for a great botanical garden. They're dedicated to education and research here and offer a variety of opportunities. We really enjoyed the presentations.
Here in Arizona alone, maybe one of those fail. So you have really good odds of living if you get them. So we have lots of species here in captivity, but on ground we see wild ones.
So, but yeah, if you don't try to pick them up, don't wrap them up in a towel or anything. If you get a stick and get them off the road.
There's even an art gallery here. They recommend spending 2 to 3 hours at the museum, but you could spend more time depending on what you do. The second half of the day we spent in the Saguaro National Park just up the road. This park is split into 2 sections. We're on the west side. We stopped in at the Red Hills Visitor Center to look around and show them our park pass. Even if you don't have a pass, it's here that you'll pay to get into the park. Checking out the map, we saw that the main attraction here was the loop. Driving it would give us some good views of a thick forest of saguaro cactus. The 5-mile loop is unpaved and appropriate for any regular passenger car, but not recommended for motorhomes or trailers. We didn't make any stops. Parking is very limited, but we were able to squeeze in a visit to Signal Hill, where a 1/3 round-trip hike takes you to petroglyphs from the Hohokam culture. I love the views of the dense saguaros, but if I had to choose between the Sonoran Desert Museum and the National Park, I think we'd go with the museum. When visiting a different region of the country, I always look for food that's considered a regional delicacy. In this case, it's a hot dog. It originated from the Mexican state of Sonora. Typically, it's wrapped in bacon and served with pinto beans, diced tomatoes, onions, mayonnaise, or mustard with a jalapeno salsa. We didn't know where to go, so we drove around Tucson following directions from Yelp. But the places were no longer there, and being hangry, we settled for some Mexican food. I'm not going to give up yet. We were close to downtown, so we thought we'd check out some Tucson architecture, both old and new. These old structures make me happy. One of my great loves is old churches. The history and architecture is amazing. Completed in 1792, the mission is Arizona's oldest European structure and a masterpiece of Spanish colonial architecture. Ongoing restoration preserves this historic gem, allowing for its continued use and makes it possible for all to visit. Originally a modest adobe structure, the mission grew into what you see today. The building has thick walls, arches, and vaults made from low-fire clay brick, stone, and lime mortar. The statues and vivid murals are gorgeous. Today, San Xavier continues as an active parish while welcoming 200,000 visitors annually. Located just 9 miles south of downtown Tucson and free to the public, this is a must-see. Make sure and visit the museum. There's also an opportunity to take a tour. Both accept donations. Right next to the mission is a place called Grotto Hill. Built in 1908, it was built as a shrine for prayer and reflection. Walking to the top gives a nice view of the mission. "30 minutes south of Tucson is the only remaining Titan II missile site open to the public. We looked around the exhibits and soaked in some history until it was time for our tour to begin. Lasting about 45 years, the Cold War finally ended when the Soviet President Gorbachev transferred control of the nuclear arsenal to Russian President Boris Yeltsin. Shortly thereafter, the Soviet Union was dissolved. Before heading down, we were given a more thorough history lesson. You'll descend 35 feet, so you'll need to manage some stairs and stand for the duration of the tour.
You see, it is not a regular room. If you look around you, you'll see that we're actually suspended on 8 massive shock isolating springs like that one right there. And again, they're all around the room. This was made again to isolate this room from any nuclear explosion or the shock wave of this nuclear explosion, allowing for the computer behind me and the
If you can't manage the stairs or can't stand for 45 minutes, you could take the self-guided audio tour for $7 and stay topside. Just looking around is free. So we finally found our Sonoran hot dog. Told you we wouldn't give up. It was pretty good. Food truck food is the best. And as far as our base camp, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Of course, we'd rather be in the boonies with no one around, but this was convenient. A few camps looked like they were pretty comfortable and maybe they had stayed past the 14-day limit. And there was some trash laying around too big for us to pick up. But all in all, a convenient place if you want free camping. Join us next week as we finally get out of the populated areas of Arizona and do some off-roading in Julius. Thanks for joining us. If you liked our content, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss an episode.
I asked my dog, what is 2 minus 2? He said nothing.